I thought it would be really funny if like a Joe Biden versus whoever debate started with like, let's get ready to mumble. Oh. All right. We're rolling. It is, wow, so good to be back, folks. Welcome back to Lauren's Dreamhouse. Already fucked up my setup a little bit, already kicked a table. How's it going? My name's Lauren Leroux. This is Lauren's Dreamhouse. And you may be wondering, or saying, Lauren, this isn't a bathtub, and how astute you are. Typically, I filmed this in a bathtub. Well, I started in a studio, had like 3 episodes in a place with people I no longer speak to. And then I moved to my bathtub. We did a cool 11 episodes from my bathtub, which were fantastic and very low tech and very intimate and cool. And now we're going to try out something a little bit different. I'm here in the Rachel room in the the Human Zoo studio. Shout out to my boys and my family, Human Zoo, for letting me use their studio and their cool audio setup for a second. We're going to try some stuff out. Maybe we'll go back to the bathtub. Maybe we'll continue to do things here. No firm plans yet, other than the fact that I'm going to continue regular maintenance on the old pod here. And we're fully back and we're better than ever. We got energy. We have life. We have love. We have a producer. What's your name again? Oh, yeah, Ray Chill. We have Ray Chill in the building. What's going on, Ray? Mr. Chill. On the ones and twos. Wow, not me copying Are You Garbage immediately. The producer of this podcast is Ray Chill. So thanks to Rachel and thanks to Human Zoo and thanks to all of you nice people who have been saying very nice things like, where's the podcast? Why don't you do the podcast anymore? I really miss the podcast. My favorite thing to do on Sundays is roll up a joint and listen to your podcast. And I want to bring that back into all of our lives. And I really enjoy doing it because it's a really cool kind of not only like little time capsule, but like a little diary entry every once in a while, just kind of getting things off my chest. Yeah, we're just kind of, it's like hard for me to recognize what was going on during the last podcast and where we are now. I believe the last time I filmed an episode was over the summer, maybe even the late spring. I was eating McDonald's in my bed. Definitely think that the McDonald's maybe should be a more regular element in the pod because no one complained about chewing, and I love eating, especially on camera. I feel like a lot of gals these days make a pretty penny eating McDonald's from their bed, and perhaps I should be one of them. So there's also should I even say that? I don't know. There have been people offering me money to do some pretty cool things recently, and none of them have to do with my talent or job description. It's solely the way that I look, and that is fine. I mean, basically, I'm a supermodel, I guess is what I'm saying. I guess if people are like, hey, can I pay you to do this and that? It's like, oh, so you're saying that I'm a model? You're saying that you want to see me do regular ass things. There are people in my DMs who want to see me like clean my house for money. And I'm getting closer to that financially, if I'm going to be completely honest. Why is that? I don't know. I've been reflecting a lot on my financial situation over the past year, I would say. And thankfully, I'm in a place right now, and I continue to, this continues to be more of the case, where I'm making more money than I ever have in my whole life. And that's like obviously incredible. And I'm incredibly lucky to be able to just have a life that is self-sufficient, where I'm not asking people for things. And at the same time, the cigarette club is like a human child that drains my finances to a negative extent. I find myself making more money than I ever have. And in the past year that the cigarette club has existed, I've gone just so far into the depths of what I thought would be reasonable financially. It bleeds money. And like, don't get me wrong, sales of tickets are fantastic. You guys, I'm so grateful for so many people showing up to all of these shows in New York and LA. Like, it's absolutely unreal. The sales isn't the problem. The problem is that I'm just like, I just hire 7,000 people every show. And every time we like do fantastic in tickets, everyone's like, wow, you must be making so much money for the cigarette club. And I'm like, guys, like, you realize there's like 7 musicians on stage, right? Like, they're not here for free. I want to make people like feel good about performing at the cigarette club and doing what they do for me and with me, in a way that like isn't a waste of time or like feels like a favor. So, I'm definitely not cutting back on anything with the cigarette club anytime soon. If anything, it's going to be bigger and better in 2024. We're already working on so many things for the show, kind of like a more of a strategy. Whereas like usually it's just me being like, the North Star is like glam comedy with the best musicians and the best comics in the world. But now, instead of thinking of things like show by show, I'm now, because this past year has been so successful, I'm able to kind of think further into the future. And I'm very grateful for that. But now that means that we're employing a little bit more strategy. So, all that being said, we have great things coming for the cigarette club next year. And I'm so excited. But damn, it's like you guys know how it feels to work your ass off and still be like, you know, if I lost my job tomorrow, like shit would blow up. So hopefully my landlord isn't subscribed to this, because I don't want to scare him. But if anything, he's probably in it for the same reason that you guys are, which is tits in the bathtub. Right now we're only working with tits on the couch, and I didn't even do this on purpose. This is just like the titty journey that I am on today. But things are looking good. But we're not in the tub. Sorry. People tuning in for the first time being like, what's good with this tub? I'm not naked in the tub or like in a bathing suit. One time I was in a bathing suit because I was so dreadfully sunburned I couldn't wear clothes. Ever been so, fellas, is it gay to be in the sun so long that you get sunburned? No. The bathtub is a journey, but I'm trying this out too. And I think this is very nice. DJ Ray Chill set up the nice backdrop for me. We got some curtains, we got some instruments. It's cozy down here. That's why I wanted to do it, because if I'm going to do it anywhere, it has to be somewhere intimate. So, 2024 is the year of intimacy and the year of, I guess, just fucking going for it, make some noise if you're going for it. I definitely am. But it's also going to be an election year, which is interesting. And that's all I'm saying about that. Is I have nothing to offer. Oh man, wait, no. Actually, that's not true. Earlier today, I was having this like fantasy about the debates being like boxing matches or like wrestling matches, and because like Joe Biden is so old and apparently he is running again, which is a tragic mistake, would not have him, he would not headline the cigarette club, believe you me. I thought it would be really funny if like a Joe Biden versus whoever debate started with like, let's get ready to mumble. Because everyone's so old, and that's unchill. But yeah, I thought that made me laugh when I was doing my makeup earlier. Let's get ready to mumble. Oh, isn't it fun to be so stupid? taking a drink, you'll notice that I'm drinking you can make noise, it's fine. You'll notice that I'm drinking a glass of clear liquid with a chopstick in it. It's not a straw, it's a chopstick. Why is that? Because first of all, have I been drinking? Sure. Not like in general, but today. And then by the way, not today, this evening, in case anyone from work is like, what do you mean today? You've been drinking today? Because it is Wednesday. I will admit it is Wednesday, but I drink White Claw, and there are so many, I don't know if I've covered this on the pod before, but fuck it. I'm not a big carbonation person. And if there's anything I can do to limit that, that is ideal. And by putting a chopstick in it, usually I like one of those chopsticks that you get from like takeout, like cheap ones that you throw away. These are nice. For some reason, DJ Ray Chill's roommate has so many coated, beautiful chopsticks. It's like, do you eat that much Chinese food that you need more chopsticks than forks? These are white. There's only white people living here. Is that cultural appropriation? Yes. Am I calling the cops? I already have. No, anyway, I really like using chopsticks that are cheap because they're not coated, which means that they're like this porous, splintered wood that I feel like gets rid of the bubbles more. Because what I'm doing here, I don't know if you could see it. Hold on, I'll hold the mic like this. I'm whisking the bubbles out of the White Claw so that it's easier to drink. Alcoholics in the house, if you ever are like, damn, I love being drunk, but how do I do it faster? How do I do it more efficiently? How do I do it without burping at every party? That's how you whisk the bubbles out of your White Claw. So that's my move here. If you ever see me drinking a drink with a chopstick in it, it is alcohol. So we've covered cigarette clubs, kind of. I wish I had like more spoilers to offer about things that are coming. What I will say is that people have been asking me a lot when the next one will be, and I'm almost 100% sure it will be March 1st, which is my birthday, which is a Friday. And that's why I wanted to be on my birthday, because I'm like, what a cool birthday that would be. And also, all I want for any holiday is for people to just come to the cigarette club anyway. So it would be really cool for all of my friends and family to just kill two birds with one stone, whether with guilt or not. I would really like for everyone to just come to the cigarette club for my birthday. So if you haven't come to one before and you want to see one, know that they're only getting bigger and better and crazier, and that the next one will likely be March 1st, which is, again, a Friday. So plan accordingly, folks, although it might not be in New York or New Jersey. It might be in Texas. We don't know that yet. But it would be really cool to do that again. I mean, going to LA it was insane. And I feel like 90% of my fun in LA had to do with the fact that they upgraded my rental car from a Ford Focus to a Dodge Charger, which my father grew up telling me, or when I grew up, my father told me, only idiots drive Dodge Chargers. And I'm like, well, okay, but like, why do I think they're so cool? You know what I mean? It's like, I can't help that I'm so, like, it's not that I'm like attracted to people who drive Dodge Chargers. It's that I like, because to be completely honest, I mean, looking back at high school, the people who had Dodge Chargers were rapists and drug salesmen. And that is not what I am. I'm not that at all. And I feel like, drug sales, working on commish. Yeah. Drug salesmen, people who sell drugs, pushers. I don't know. I think salesman is kind. I think that's a good compromise. Anywho, they upgraded my car and I was like, well, okay, cool, amazing. But also, like, is the insurance going to be more like, I've never rented a car in my life. So this was like the first time I rented a car. I did that because like I was picking up gear from people, and God bless you if you let me borrow stuff for the show. So many people have lent us things for the cigarette club in LA, and basically I rented a car to just like run all those errands and like go to Trader Joe's and stuff. And, it was like not a big drinking trip for me. Like, I think after the cigarette club, I had one drink. Like I did not get drunk when I was in LA, like for even a second. Actually, that's not true. Thursday I did, but I did not drive. Regardless, I was just like, I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to be clean. I'm going to be preparing for the show. I'll need a car for all these errands. And it'll also be cool because I love driving. Like, if you know me, you know that, like, if anyone needs to be like the driver of a situation, if it's like a long drive, like I'll always drive. And I never care if someone's like, oh, I would love to hang out, but I'm an hour away. I'm just like, I don't care. It's 2 seconds in my mind, because driving and commuting to and from work have always been like the moments that, and also like working out, where you just kind of have like this meditative kind of stream of consciousness going on, where I mean, it's like the only time I really am ever able to think. And I don't know, I just love driving. So they upgraded my car, and that was like incredible. And I go in, and like my phone connects to the Bluetooth immediately, and the sound is the best sound I've ever heard in a car in my whole life. And I'm just like driving. The first day I was in LA, I drove 80 or 90 miles just doing stuff. And I loved every second of it. I was blasting Perfect Day by Hoku. That's Hoku, right? Not Hoka. Hoka is shoes. Hoku is Perfect Day. I think I'm right. Sound off in the comments. Is that it's a perfect day? Yeah, blasting that. It's so sunny in LA. Just got the windows down. Perfect temperature. There for a show. Like, you know, just having a great time. It was like, I took a moment when I was driving on the 405, I guess, or the 10. I guess there's a couple. I was driving on one of them roads, and I took a moment and really like took inventory of how I was feeling and what I was seeing. And sometimes I have the wherewithal to do that in life. Like if I'm having a really good time and also a really bad time, I'll take a moment and be like, don't forget this. Like, this is going to be useful. You're going to want to remember this in the future. And then if I do that, if I have like that checkpoint moment in my daily life, not daily, because not everything that cool happens every single day, but I kind of have like a reflex that turns that on. And I'm grateful for that, because now when I look back at LA, like the first thing I think about is that car ride and how much fun I was having and how like grateful I was, and just how amazing it felt to be in LA, like for something that I like worked for and earned. It was really special. And I like feel right now, just thinking about it, like I feel how I felt in that car, just like the warm gratitude and joy, just like pure joy of doing something that I love in a place that like feels important. You know, I'm like an East Coast person, and I kind of like fetishize LA as someone who is striving to be in this comedy music, you know, career. And, you know, being in LA for that reason, like for a show, for my show, is unreal. So the car was it just fucking ripped. And that car's ass, baby, fat. It was such a wide ass car. Like it filled up a parking spot as if it were like the perfect rectangle that it was modeled after, like kind of unreal. And thankfully I not grew up again. Why do I say growing up? One time when I was learning how to drive, you know, for like a year and a half, my family had 2 Lincoln Town cars, and my dad would get into one and just start like zooming down the road, you know, a half hour away, and he'd be like, find me. Like my task was to be like, you know, was to not lose my dad, and to kind of just keep driving and not getting into accidents and still following traffic laws, and, you know, finding him and then parallel parking. And that's like kind of how he taught me how to drive. He just like threw me in the fire and just like let it rip, which like very grateful for. But then back then I was like crying the whole time. I'm like, why does he go so fast? Where's my dad? He was in Metuchen. It was always Metuchen. He always went there. Shout out Metuchen. Never mind. Never mind. So anyway, the Dodge Charger was so fucking fat that I was like, wow, I can't believe that I've like been trained to handle this. And I was parallel parking like a fucking genius. And imagine someone being like, how is LA? And then me like talking about the car the entire time and be like, oh yeah, we also did a show, but like the car. So stupid. I'm a dude. Anyway, yeah, our Airbnb was crazy. There were so many problems with it. I mean, it ultimately was fantastic and beautiful, but like leading up to it, it got canceled like maybe 17 times. And I was like, this guy's really like, I'm so desperate. By the time they canceled it, the last time that scared me, it was like 2 weeks before the show. And I was like, there's nothing else available for less than $5,000. So I was like, I'm just going to hopefully trust this guy and nothing will happen. And thankfully everything was chill. And then there were so many problems. Like the guy canceled it for all these weird reasons. And he felt so bad. He was like, I'll get anything delivered to your apartment at any time if you need anything. And he wound up like dropping off toilet paper and paper towels and stuff at some point. And it was like high level service. So that was great. And it had a beautiful view and it was really nice and cold when I programmed it to be cold, and everything was clean. And I was just, that was another thing that I was like, damn, I got this cool car, this cool place. We're here for the show. Like the vibes are immaculate. I was floating for a good week. Yes. The show itself, phenomenal, but also quite literally a fever dream. Like from the second I woke up that day, it was just like panic. And then everyone was like, calm down. And I was just like, literally don't talk to me. Like I've been working on this for 4 or 5 months. Thousands of dollars, hundreds of hours of work. Like it's all coming to a point here. And I was just terrified. Meeting a couple comics that I've never met before and hoping that everything was going to go well technically, because we did kind of a weird tech setup. I did a cool vocal looping thing in the beginning. That was kind of silly, but very fun. And the Sloppy Boys were there, and shout out to the Sloppy Boys. If you're watching this somehow from the Sloppy Boys universe, hello. Welcome. If you came to the show, I know a couple of you were there. Thanks for coming. And love them. Love the new album. Love Running with the Bulls. Cool video. Stream it or check it out. Or look it up. It's on YouTube if you haven't seen it. But yeah, I was just worried about 10 trillion things. And so I just kind of felt like I wasn't able to enjoy it as much as I would have wanted. Because we've done the show 5 times at this point. And, you know, when we got to the 3rd time at Chelsea Music Hall, and shout out to them, it felt so comfortable because I knew exactly what to expect. I trusted everybody. Not a super high-tech setup, but had a lot of silly things planned. Like it was super comfortable and I felt great about that. But, and for the record, like Dynasty Typewriter in LA, that's where we did our show. Absolutely A-class people, like some of the best people I've ever worked with in my whole life. Just so kind, so on top of everything, promoted so much for us. They're absolutely fantastic and I'd love to work with them again. And the space is so gorgeous, big stage, cool lights. Like it was a dream. It was a total dream. The backstage, it was like a movie. Like, you know, the show's going on in the front, and then backstage we had the photographer bouncing like between the audience and backstage. And then we had like my sister doing green makeup for one of my one of the comics, and that was very fun. I told the audience that we were going to have the Blue Man Group perform, and then halfway through the show, I said that the Blue Man Group couldn't make it, but instead they sent the Green Boy Experience. And the Green Boy Experience was a man by the name of Andrew Goldberg, and he was getting green makeup literally the entire show until he went on. And then at the second he got off, my sister, who is the makeup artist, shout out Sophia, she just like took off the makeup the entire show. So like it was like the backstage area was like constant photography, constant green makeup shenanigans, Todd Glass just being like, here's everything I've ever learned ever in all of my years of living. Like, these are all of my life lessons. And Quincy and Aristotle Atari and Mario Adrian were backstage just like deadlocked on it. I mean, how could you not be? Like, because Todd Glass is Todd Glass. He's absolutely fantastic and so cool and funny and wise and kind. And it was just like, it was just funny. Every time I got off stage, I felt like there was a completely different show going on back there. So I feel like that's what I remember the most, because when I'm on stage, generally I am blacked out and I will never remember anything. I was not drunk during the show, not under the influence of anything whatsoever, but backstage I was like, what is going on? Literally, what is going on? That was so much fun. So yeah, LA was fantastic. And after the show, we went to this bar called 4100 or something, and I kept calling it 4100, and everyone was looking at me like, are you a cop? And when we got there, they had like a taco truck outside, and I was like starving myself for this show. At least like the day or two before, I kind of went off the rails pretty heavy. Otherwise, I like am more disciplined than usual when I'm preparing for a cigarette club, because I'm like wearing costumes and stuff, and I have an eating disorder. You know, I'm just like a troubled woman. And yeah, after the show, I was starving, and there was a taco truck selling like real burritos. Like, I'm talking huge real burritos, and I got a giant burrito, like double the size of a Chipotle burrito, which, by the way, what time is it? Oh, Chipotle's closed. Fuck. I shouldn't eat. Why am I as a woman ever eating? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I was so hungry, and I did not expect there to be food. And we go to this taco truck, and I get like the craziest. It was like basically an entire burrito on top of fries. And then I also got a burrito. So I was living my absolute best life. And that was a cool moment to kind of just relax for the first time in a while. But then we had another cigarette club 2 weeks later, and that was fantastic also. Had our first heckler, which is like, you know, who cares usually, but this one was interesting because it was someone that we knew, and also someone who was like, I don't know, someone that I'm not very close with, but someone that one of my friends is. And no shame to this girl. She's very stressed out about the way that things are in the world. But she like got upset about one person's joke and then waited almost like 20 minutes to react to it and like ruin someone else's set. And that was kind of a bummer because like the whole show was going so well. But what are you going to do? I'm not mad at her. She's cool. I'm sure she's embarrassed. If not, maybe you should be, but you're not a bad person. Just reacting to stuff. You're a human being. I don't blame you. Other things going on. So I've brought back Lauren's List in a limited capacity. And if you don't know, Lauren's List is my dating service that is free and discreet and only run by me. And I don't like share your info with anybody. I don't store data anywhere. Basically, I just, if you're single or not, which is none of my business, and you want to hook up with somebody primarily, sometimes it's for relationships. Sometimes it evolves into a relationship, which I think is a beautiful thing. And I've always said Lauren's List can't properly end until there is a child conceived of Lauren's List and the child is named Lauren. That's the only way that the whole thing, that's the only way the curse will be broken. And until then, I'm doomed to a life of hooking up my friends until one of them accidentally or intentionally gets pregnant. So that's the life that I live. And how do I match people? Well, I have a questionnaire where I ask you kind of like 10 to 12 pretty basic open-ended questions where you tell me like where you live and how far you're willing to drive and what kind of person you're looking for, and also how kinky you are, and also like, are you an asshole, and like, et cetera, et cetera. And sometimes I match everyone individually because I kind of have a good read on people, and I've successfully matched a whole lot of people. We had like 25 matches in the first like 2 months, and a couple people got, I said that like if you went on a Lauren's List date and you took a picture of yourselves at the date and you both consented to that I would send you guys 2 free t-shirts. And we had a couple of those in the first couple of months. And things were looking great for that for a while. But ultimately, pretty much started the cigarette club, and that's kind of what ended it because it's my number one baby and taking up all of my time. But it doesn't mean I still can't hook up people every once in a while. Show sponsored by Juul. Anyway, so yeah, for some reason, people have been asking me about Lauren's List, even though I don't really talk about it anymore. And I guess like, I don't know, the word is beginning to spread again in some ways. And I'm like, yeah, there's no reason I can't like take your info and see what I can do for you. Like, I don't really like to ever say no to people. I like to say maybe, that's kind of like a service industry person thing. It's like, someone asks you for something, you're like, you can't just be like, no, you have to be like, let me see how I can do that for you. And that's essentially what I have done with Lauren's List. There are some people who are not very picky at all. And they're just like, literally set me up with everyone, boy, girl, or anywhere on the spectrum, anywhere within 10 miles of me, and I'll jump on that. And I'm like, say less. Mommy's got you. But some people are super picky, and I haven't been able to match a couple of people because they just have standards that are absolutely fucking unreal. Point being, it's back. Probably not going to do many L drops, but maybe like one a month. The L drops were things that like I did every week on Thursday night, where I would either like tell a story or give people updates about the list and merch and stuff, which by the way, Sig Club merch store is coming. I've been working very hard on it, and I'm just I need a couple more things on there before I'm ready to launch it. And then I'll probably only keep things up for a little bit and make them like limited special things, but more on that eventually. Yeah, Lauren's List came back, and I've gotten a couple people on board somehow. That's beautiful. And I haven't matched them yet, but we'll see how things go. I just, boy, do I love. I also love what comes out. Like, there was one person on Lauren's List last year who was like, so you set me up on a date with somebody. So I went and met them in a park, and we go to the park, and I blow the guy in the park, and then he left, and then I ran into somebody, and now we're dating, and now I think they're engaged. If not, they've been dating for like 3 years at this point, and of course I take credit for that. Are you kidding me? They only met because of me. When are you going to meet him if it wasn't for me? DJ Rachel is like looking at me like, you did not cause that relationship, but I catalyzed it. if nothing else. I was the catalyst. So here's something crazy, and I'm going to take my shoes off now because I want to be a little pretzely on the couch. We're at 34 right now. We're not doing too bad. So I have been thinking recently. I've been living in my apartment for a couple years, and like in 2021, I moved 5 times all around New York and New Jersey because I was kind of dislodged from my living situation very suddenly. And now I'm about to enter my 3rd year in this apartment, making it the place that I've lived the longest in my life, other than my childhood home, where I grew up. And I'm like, it's a really cute building, and there are a lot of people in the building. Everyone is so kind, but they're like older. Like there's nobody in the building my age. And I always, it kind of sucks like not knowing your neighbors, even if it's just an apartment building. Like I've kind of always wanted like just a basic level of camaraderie. And like when I was living with my friends, Farah and Emily, they graciously let me live in their spare room in the city for 2 or 3 months, probably 3 months. And they were like, oh yeah, we met our neighbors and we have this neighbor's spare key, and oh, it's this neighbor's birthday. And I'm like, how do you guys like know your neighbors? How do you find them? But there is kind of more like a courtyard area over there. There's like a community where people can kind of chat. I don't really have that in my situation. So it's hard to meet people who aren't like on your floor or like sharing your elevator. And even like when I get home, if I'm ever coming or going from my apartment, I only ever really see one family who like lives at the end of the hallway, and it's like 2 people in their late 30s, early 40s maybe, who have a couple kids, and like, they're very sweet, but they're not like my friends. And like the only time I ever really talk to them is when they're like, did you take my package? And I'm like, literally, why would I want your package? But they still knock, don't they? But then there's also this person who lives directly across from me, and like, well, okay, zooming out a little bit, rewinding, there's a girl who lives on my floor who like, she's 100% my age. Like she's not, she can't be more than 30. She could even be younger than me. I'm 27, and she like, I'll see her in the elevator and like, I'll chat with her for a second. And I feel like she thinks that I'm like a super mega like lesbo or something, because the way she like interacts with me, the way that I would interact with a guy that I am uncomfortable with, where it's like a guy's like asking you too many questions and you're just like, yeah, thank you. Oh, cool. Yeah, no, I live over here. Like that's how she was like behaving with me. And I'm like, bitch, like I'm not trying to fuck you. I'm trying to like be a neighbor. And then somehow on Instagram, I found her, like she popped up, and I was like, I think I was scrolling. Oh yeah. I was scrolling, and there was like a picture of literally outside of my window. And I was like, who posted that? And then I was like, oh shit, that's the girl, because she lives directly next to me. So the view out her window is basically the view out of my window. And I followed her. She never followed me back. What is that? That's so insane. Like, to know me and to have met me and to like, I don't know, it's weird. And I DM'd her like a couple months later being like, hey, by the way, like, I think I'm your neighbor. She never hit me back. I don't even know if she's alive. Maybe she's dead. Maybe there's a dead girl in my building. But honestly, serves her right for ignoring me like that. Fuck these hoes. Nobody's loyal. You can't trust women. Actually, you can, and I'll get to that in a second, because I'm on a whole new wave of loving chicks and being a girly and girls rule, boys drool, etc. But more on that in a moment. I've been seeing this person who lives like across from me. Like I open my door, I would walk one pace. That's that dude's door. I think it's his apartment. If not, it's the girl's apartment, but I never see her. I feel like I've seen him a couple times. So I've deduced that it's his apartment. But I'm like, this dude's like my age. Like, I just like, I'm not trying to fuck this dude. Like, I just want a neighbor. Like, I want someone to be like, you know, if God forbid, like I leave a candle going or something, I can text that person and be like, hey, I have a spare key, like downstairs, blah, blah, blah. Can you get it? And like, see if my candle is still burning, and then like buy him a coffee or something for doing something nice for me. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to be fucking crazy or weird, but, anyway, here am I like inventing a scenario where this guy thinks I'm a murderer. I'm like putting that on myself. I am fully aware that I'm crazy and all of this is just spiraling into a million directions, but I'm telling you what I'm thinking. So I've decided, I was like, I really want to know who these people are. And like, cause it's a guy and his girlfriend, and I don't know who lives there, but one of them does. And they're often together cause I come home sometimes and I hear them. In a nice way, not like in a fucking or screaming way, but like in a, because fucking and screaming is not nice. But yeah, I decided to write a very crazy letter to them. And I wrote it last night while I was watching 6 Feet Under, which is, by the way, a great show. I understand I'm quite literally 20 years late, but, you know, party's still going. It's on Netflix. I'm going to do whatever I want. So anyway, I write this letter last night and I'm like, hey, I wish I took a picture of the letter so that I could read it, because it seems like an alien who's like never made friends before, but like essentially, what am I if not that, you know? So I write this letter and I'm like, hi. And I was like, all I want to do is like project a level of like, I'm not crazy energy, but I was like, if I draw one smiley face on this letter, like it's over. Like they're going to think that I'm crazy. So there are no smiley faces anywhere. It's just periods and exclamation marks, sometimes a comma, put a colon there or two. What am I if not a grammar expert, a punctuation princess? But so I write this letter and I'm like, don't seem too enthusiastic, but also don't seem creepy and don't, whatever. So I'm just like, hi, I live here. I just renewed my lease. I'm going to be here another year. I don't, like, everyone in this building is very nice, but it sucks that I don't know who my neighbors are, and you are my neighbor, and I would like to know you if you would like to know me, essentially, was like the energy. I was like, because I didn't give them my phone number. I thought that would be a little too much. I would like to meet them first before they get my phone number. But on the back, I did write, like, because I wrote a whole letter, and then I was like, at the bottom, I was like, and here's something about me. And I drew an arrow and I like flipped it over, and it's like, here's my Instagram. Here's my job, which, like, why did I do that? But then I was like, I don't want to write this letter again. And I don't want to cross out what my job is. That looks so crazy. So I'm just going to put what my job is there. And now they're going to know my job. So, okay. And then under it, I was like, I put age, and I was like 27, and I was like, this is getting creepier and creepier, but I can't fix it. I don't know what to do. I'm so scared. And then it got worse. Then I put fun fact. And then I was like, well, what's a fun fact about me? And I was like, well, I was like, there are a couple of like family members that I'm proud of who have cool histories that I drop sometimes, like people who are musicians and stuff. And I'm like, well, that's not a fun fact about me. That's a fun fact about my family. So it should be about me. So what I wrote was, I really like very stale coffee, and I don't know why. And then that was the moment that I chose to put a smiley face after it. I wrote this insane letter, and maybe like 3 times in the letter, I'm like, and I swear to God, I won't kill you if you don't answer. Like, I was just trying really hard to be like, I'm extending my hand out. If you don't shake it, I'm not going to kill myself, and I won't kill you either. Like, I was really trying to hit those vibes home. But I think by accident, I made it 100,000 times creepier and worse. And honestly, I don't think it's that bad, but I also, it's in their hands now, you know? So we're going to see. I'm recording with my phone right now, and it's on Do Not Disturb. And I keep kind of like looking at it like, are they going to DM me? So far, no DMs. And 5 more minutes? What?
I thought it would have been an hour.
It's 45.
Really?
Yeah.
We started at 45.
It's 45. I recorded 45 minutes so far. Oh. DJ Rachel, strike 1. Anyway, we'll see if my neighbors give a shit about community and me. I also said, I was like, do you want to come over for a coffee or a beer? That's another part that I left out. Is that crazy? Please let me know in the comments or the DMs if that's a completely insane thing to be like, do you want to come over for a completely platonic? The letter went like this. It was like, hi, I'm Lauren. I've lived here for 2 years. I'm going to live here for 1 more. I would love to know my neighbors who are under 108 years old. Then like in another paragraph, I was like, I've seen you. And then like in parentheses, I'm like, or you guys, because I don't really know who lives here, but that's none of my business, ! And then I was like, is this really bad? Is this... What would you do if you got this letter that was just like, I've seen you around, or you guys, or I don't know who you are, but that's none of my business. I don't know. And then I was like, anyway, whoever you or you guys are, do you want to come over for coffee or beer sometime? Like, and if not, LOL, no worries. I don't know. I don't think it's that bad, but then the more I think about literally what I wrote, the worse it gets in my mind. Oh, this episode is sponsored by White Claw and ExpressVPN. Just kidding, but hopefully someday. What else do I have on that thing? Oh yeah, some people told me to talk about deviled eggs. I don't know what to say other than the fact that if you're not on it, get on it. Deviled eggs are the future. Eggs are a perfect food. People ask me all the time, Lauren, why do you like eggs so much? Why are you like the deviled egg like czar of the universe? And to that I say, eggs are the perfect food. They are clean protein, no weird fat, only good fats. I believe they're kind of high in cholesterol, but I've also heard that you can't get high cholesterol from eating eggs. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I went to art school. I failed a class called dinosaurs twice. However, yeah, eggs are a perfect food. If you're kind of hungry, you just want to have a snack, you can have 1 egg. If you are very hungry and it's a meal, you can have an omelet. You can have a frittata. You can have a quiche. These are all basically just eggs in a dish. How easy is that? It doesn't get easier than eggs in a dish. Also, cracking an egg, extremely satisfying. I know how to do it with 1 hand. I also... I know your mind's just exploded that you realize that I can crack an egg with 1 hand, but let me tell you this. Did you know that it's easier to crack an egg with 1 hand than it is with 2? Why is that? Because if you separate that membrane, that like the weird, I don't know how to describe it other than a membrane. That's what makes all the pieces like fall off and like break into your cake or your omelet or your, I don't know, if you eat raw eggs, then I guess just a glass. But if you crack it with one hand, you kind of just like separate that membrane and none of the pieces come out because they're all like attached to itself. So fun fact. Also, if you crack an egg, never crack it on a corner of something. Always crack it on a flat surface and the pieces will never come off. This has been an egg fact, folks. This podcast is sponsored by eggs. Big egg. But deviled eggs, dude, I mean, some very wise, very astute, might I say distinguished gentleman said, I want to go to a party and I want to bring something, but all I have is eggs and mustard and celery seed powder and mayo. What can I do? And someone else said, probably his wife, probably said, why don't you take all those things and mash them up and then put them back in the egg, almost like a twice baked potato, but colder and wetter and sweatier. And also when you eat it, everyone's breath will smell and everyone will be upset. And he said, perfect. And I haven't been the same ever since. Deviled eggs, if I could eat deviled eggs every meal, every day, I would. They're absolutely fantastic. Everywhere you go, if they have deviled eggs, no two are the same. Oh, what a beautiful thing. Deviled eggs are like snowflakes, essentially, is what I'm saying. Is that no two are the same. They're all beautiful and unique and special in their own way, and I will eat all of them. So, yeah. That's deviled eggs. Lawrence told me to talk about how great black men are, and I will in February when that's... no, I'm just kidding. No, but shout out to Lawrence Reese, one of the best comics in New York City, one of the brightest minds of our generation, truly. Put Andrew Yang on his goddamn ass, and also is just generally a brilliant person. Someone else said sucking on chili dog. Oh yeah, have you guys liked the sucking on chili dog bit? It's a bit to you, but to me, it's a whole lifestyle. It's my whole entire life. There's not a second that goes by where I'm not thinking about sucking on chili dog. And it's gotten to the point where I only think or sing songs like it's sucking on chili dog. Like it goes into everything that I do. And I feel like that's probably what it's like to be a mother. Which I am. I'm a dog mom. Chili dog. Imagine like adopting like dog culture, being like, I'm a dog mom. Like I'm a, there's nothing gets between me and my dogs. And everyone's like, oh, let me see a picture of your dogs. And it's just like chili dogs. What else do I have on there? I have the rack reactions thing, but
what do I have to do videos every day like a fucking
oh yeah. So the rack reaction thing I'll do next episode because my buddy Dalton Pruitt finally back on the scene. I'm so happy for him, so proud of him. He's back and better than ever. He's lucid. He is clear. Those are two words that mean the exact same thing. I'm sorry that I speak in synonyms so much, but he is a brilliant mind and I'm so happy that he's back and he's been doing this really funny bit that for some reason is not going dummy viral. I think it's because of the nature of the video itself, which is literally just him talking about tits and showing tits the entire time. So maybe that's not algo friendly, but at the same time, I'm like, Instagram models have their tits out and they have a great reach. So like if he's taking those, assets essentially and just superimposing his face on it and doing a comedy video, how is that not like breaking the algorithm and being the most successful type of content of all time? Like, I don't understand it. It's like, I feel like he's shadow banned, but Dalton, I'm fighting for you. I will do anything to fix this because you are a genius and the bit is great. But yeah, the kid essentially just reacts to people's tits. And I thought it was so funny that one time I was like, I had perhaps smoked a little weed and I was just like, I just responded to one of his videos, "Me next," like as a joke, not being like, "Can you do mine?" I was like, "Me next." And then like 20 minutes later, it like appears. I was like, oh my God. And then it was, I mean, it's an enlightening 3.5 minutes of content about, the funny thing about the whole thing is that we'll cover it next time. He's just so brilliant. The way he does it, you think that it's going to be a video of like extreme, of an extremely inappropriate nature, but it winds up being like very poignant and funny and very just like true to his voice as a comic, because he's like this Arkansas ass dude, and anyone just kind of seeing him on the facade would be like, you're a hick ass dude, but then like he kind of comes at you from an angle that you're never expecting, and I think that's what makes him such a brilliant comic. So shout out to Dalton. Subscribe to his podcast. I'm sorry, Dalton, I forget what it's called, but I do subscribe to it and I watch it. He's great. We'll do the rack reaction next time for sure. My mom called me earlier today, and she just quit her job, and she had been working there for, I don't know, I guess, wow, if I'm 27, yeah, she's been working there for 9 years. And the only reason she got that job was to get me free tuition, because she got a job at my college, and she was like, "Oh, you got a job? You got accepted there? I will get a job so that you don't have to pay tuition." As if there's like, she's just an angel. That's like, have you ever heard of something so insane and selfless? Like, she just made a decade-long career move, basically, just so that I wouldn't have that many student loans, or that much of an amount of student loans. An amazing thing that she did. But she, like, this time last year-ish, she started painting. And we were like, every year I go to Wildwood with my dad, and it's like me, my dad, and my siblings, and my mom stays home because that's her alone time. And we kind of have like this cute little dad time in Wildwood. And while we were there, she sent us a bunch of paintings, and we were like, "Oh, these are cool. What are these?" And she was like, "I painted them." And we were like, "But these are good." Like, before we left, she had mentioned that she wanted to try painting, and we were like, "Okay, oh, you old bitch." Yeah, why don't you go play with some paint while we go to the beach again drunk, you bitch? And it's probably verbatim what I said. And lo and behold, like maybe at like 4 p.m. that day, we had been gone for like 10 hours. She sends us these like incredible paintings, and we're like, holy shit, like these are actually good. And I called her and I was like, "Mom, there's nothing I'd rather do than make fun of you and tell you that like you'll never be an artist, and that you're silly for starting something like this in your 50s, and like this is embarrassing, and like why would you think that you could do anything art related if like you've never done it before, and like you're so fat, and like shut the fuck up." And the way that my phone calls go with my mom, and I was like, "Mom, I really would like to make fun of you and tell you like, hey, these are good for like first time paintings." And I was like, "These are some of the best paintings I've ever seen." And it's true. Like, there is nothing I would have rather, or I would have loved more than to be like, "You silly lady, like these are silly, like keep working on it, and I love you, but like these are bad." Her first painting, she painted like 8 things when we were gone, and they're like full beautiful paintings. One is so gorgeous, like it's hanging in our living room right now. And she was like, "I want to sell it." And I was like, "Don't you dare sell that. Like, I will either buy it from you or inherit it from you when you die of a fat bitchy death." And No, she's just like, she's literally better than pretty much everyone I went to art school with. And many of the people who are making millions of dollars selling paintings today, like it's actually incredible. So she started painting, and once she started that, it was kind of all over. Like she was on her way out from her job. She was like, I am not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be an artist. I'm supposed to be creative. I'm supposed to be free. I'm not supposed to be at this fucking bullshit, whatever. I mean, she had a great time. She wouldn't say bullshit, but she was frustrated that she actually realized that she had this like passion, and she paints all the time. And now she just left this job last Friday. It's less than a week ago. And she's been trying to like do TikTok and Reels and all the social media stuff, and she's got some cool things going on social media, but I tell her like, you need to put your face in it more. Like you need to establish yourself as a character. Like you can't just post the paintings because like, sure, the paintings can stand for themselves and they are that good and like people will love them, but like you have to, I think the algorithm, at least, like if we're going to care about that or talk about that at all, it likes faces more than it likes static images or just paintings, so maybe try to like insert yourself a little bit more. I try to give her tips here and there. But generally it's hard. I sympathize with the challenge of kind of selling paintings, on Instagram, like in the age of social media where people have decided that videos are like the only thing that that gets any kind of algorithm traction at all. And she calls me today and she's like, I'm like, hey mommy, what's up? And she's like, do I have to spend the rest of my fucking life making fucking videos, or is anyone going to care about my paintings at all? And I was just like, oh man, like, yeah, you do. Like, I'm sorry, but like, you're going to have to keep doing videos and silly little social media content. Even if you think that it has nothing to do with your paintings or like, I do tell her too, I'm like, paint your show your process, show like the beginning, show after 2 hours, show after 10 hours, like, and tell people what you're doing. Like, make people follow it. What kinds of things do you like to watch, especially on artist accounts, because now she follows a lot. So I'm like, try to pick out the things that you like and you don't like. And she's just like, God damn, Jesus Christ, I quit my job. I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want it to be a job. I want it to be fun. And it's funny, like, my mom is not a boomer quite. I mean, maybe she's like the youngest boomer. I feel like she's a cusper, like old millennial, young boomer type of energy. She's young. Don't tell her I said that. But it's funny when you see these people who like pride themselves on like discipline and like work, and it's like, this is just what it is. Like in life, you just got to work, and you might not like it, but it pays the bills and it's what you got to do to survive, and like, just don't talk shit about it. And it's funny to see like that type of person be like, especially about like making content, like, Jesus, do I have to like make content for the rest of my life? Because it becomes another job. Like you think you can just like, everyone's dream is, oh, I want to quit my job and I want to be creative. But like, guess what? Being creative means working harder than you pretty much will at any day job, unless you were doing physical labor, or like serving for multiple hours. But even then, like doing, like making content, things that people will watch and, get you traction and establish yourself as a creative figure. Like it takes a lot of work. And the people that where you're just like, I can't believe they make so much money just doing this, just making content. It's like, it's 2 full-time jobs. It's crazy. And it never turns off. But for now, we're going to turn off. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Lauren's Dreamhouse. We're back. We're fully back. And I will see you next week. I'm going to try to figure out when the best schedule to put these things out, what that'll be. I don't really know yet. I think I used to put them out on Fridays or Thursday nights. I can probably put it out Thursday night. If you're seeing this on Thursday night, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. That means that I'm working really hard and I did a really good job. But I do have to go to a weird party tomorrow being Thursday. And I'll probably talk about the weird party at the next episode. It's not weird, but it is weird. But anyway, my name is Lauren LaRoe. This has been Lauren's Dreamhouse. And I forget how I used to sign them off, but I don't know. Love you guys. Peace. Yay.
Monkeys.
Did you like it?
Yeah, the letter is insane. You really did that?
What?
You really did that letter?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What happened last night? I leave you alone for 2 days.
I get lonely. I want to make friends.
What
I start writing letters